What's up, everyone? It's another edition of Georgia Alabama Sports Live, and we're going to call this Week 3 High School Football Preview Show. And we got a special guest on the live stream today, and that is none other than my good friend. I met him last year when we were covering Auburn games of Kudzu Sports, Mr. Rick Beats. Rick, how are you, man?
Hey, good, bud. How y'all?
Excellent. And
Doing great.
I just want to first say this, and for everyone that starts tuning in and filling in, we're going to share this on all our social media pages. Fantastic call by both of you. I mean, Rick, I feel like you didn't even have to look at the roster. I wasn't even there, so I'm just speculating. But I feel like you didn't even have to look at the roster for Harris County. You knew every player, where they're at, and their background history. Richard, great call. A little bit jealous, especially what I had to be and go through. And I was like, Richard and Rick, they get the game-winning kick, the best game of the night. But I'm glad that we got to represent Georgia Alabama Sports Live out in Harris County. Rick, thank you so much for all the help you and all the things you did behind the scenes to make that broadcast possible. Shout out to Christopher Gates. But I know y'all had a lot of fun, and we got a lot of stuff they're going to get into. And I'm excited about today's high school football preview show. Anything you want to say, Richard?
Yeah, it was exciting. Rick, had a fun time calling that game with you. I feel like you and I, it was our first broadcast together, and it seemed like we've been calling multiple games together, had great chemistry. And I agree with Thrift. You didn't even need a roster. I mean, I was sending you the Harris County roster ahead of time, and I was pulling it, and I was trying to find the players' names. And the only player that I knew by heart was Levi Watson. You practically knew the defense every time they came in and did a tackle. It was incredible, and I know how much Harris County means to you. And when I think of Harris County and Kudzu Sports, I think of Rick Beach. And I thought it was very fitting that, Rick, that you were calling a Harris County game. And I'm excited about this Friday. It's going to be exciting, and I know that Harris County means the world to you.
Oh, it does. And, the football team is the backbone of the county. I think that's with most small towns or most high schools, other than like Columbus with the baseball program. But that's like Kentucky basketball with
Right.
Columbus High. But, yeah, the football program is what represents. If it's doing good, the community's doing good. It's in a good mood. This week, the weekend was just terrific as far as social media numbers went through the roof. For the first, it was every post was, 100 Instagram, everything got triple digits. It's got, I think I added up his 1,800 likes on social media this weekend. And that just goes to winning, and you look at the potential and the way the schedule lines up and stuff, it's some excitement building. But when you win a game like that, that last year, that was an easy loss. They find a way to lose it and to find a way to win the game, and you're at home and you could hear the crowd. It was just unique. That was a big crowd. They were very loud into the game the whole time. And at the end of it, on Richard's call, when we do take a break to catch our breath, all you can hear is the noise from the crowd. And
Oh, yeah.
you don't see that in high school football too much around here.
No, that is exactly right, and I think that's very well put, Rick. And I saw, especially the game-winning kick that you put on your Facebook page. I mean, it's already got 7,000 views. People just sharing it, and that's the main reason we do what we do, Rick, is to give exposure to these schools, these athletes, these coaches, everyone involved in athletics, especially in the high school level. And there's 10 to 15 schools around here we're trying to cover. Some of them don't get near as much love as others do. All right. And that's because there is a lot of schools. But I think
Yeah.
that's where we come in and live streaming games, trying to do as many of the schools as possible. Even if it's one game, that game is someone that is seeing their either alma mater play or their grandson or nephew or whatever it may be playing a game that they probably never would have gotten a chance to do if they don't live here. So thank you again for both of y'all, did an excellent job. And I've said it like 6 million times, and I want to almost coin the phrase, man. Harris County is a sleeping giant. And I feel this, and you probably can attest to this too, Rick. If they ever get all the right pieces in place, you got the support, you got the great administration. I think you got the coaches there, and I believe in everything that's going on surrounding Coach Watson, Coach Dimitri, the basketball programs. I think Harris County in the near future is going to be one of the top teams in the area, and I'm excited about it. And I think it started with this Friday night, like you talked about last year, going 2-8. That's a game you lose. that's a game where you're winning most of the time, and then all of a sudden, what, you start making those bonehead mistakes, and they end up leading you to losing. This year, to see that happen, I think that resonates a lot with the entire locker room, with the entire county, and I think that's going to be a catalyst for Harris County for the next couple weeks to come. I know you got McIntosh, their top 25 team, and all the state, regardless of classification. They're in your
Yeah.
region. North Side, we know how good they are. They won the region last year. But Harris County can still make the playoffs, regardless if they win the region. How do you feel about what is the psyche, Rick? What is the county feeling like after that big win against Russell County?
I think it's the excitement that they found that running game. You have an offensive lineman that's a former offensive lineman that's your head coach. Then you bring in Bronson Sweat coming in as offensive line coach, a former college offensive lineman himself, and so they get this physicality to them. If the head coach and play callers and offensive lineman, if they want to get physical. So when they came out in that power T, Richard, I don't know, they might have ran 4 shotgun snaps in the second half, and it was just power T. They put a defensive lineman at fullback, a linebacker at running back, and hit you in the mouth. And they moved Russell County probably 6-7 yards a pop. And I think that gets you excited that we found something. And, we got an identity as far as we're going to be physical. We're going to hit you in the mouth. We're going to tell you we're going to do it and then continue to do it. And I think that's what they want to be. And that's what they got to Saturday or Friday night.
Well, Rick, I hope that there were some college scouts that were at that game, because Matei Yeomans, he reminds me of Jerome Bettis. He was unstoppable when Harris County was able to run the football. It was just an exciting back and forth game. And I love the way that they ran. And Matei Yeomans, didn't he have about 144 yards in that game, like 19 carries with a touchdown?
Carries 133 yards.
I was a little off.
That 65-yard run that, I've never seen him. And let's go backstory. He's an inside linebacker. He's great. His brother Malik went to Georgia Military College for a year. I'm not exactly sure where he transferred to right now, but he was an end, and Matei was a sophomore starting on defense, and he would play a little fullback. So that's all he's kind of done is short yardage. But last week, it was like Coach Watson kind of kept it under his hat pretty good against Troop. You knew you was going against a contender for the state title in the 4A team with Troop. You were down early by a lot, so they kind of kept it under their hat. But when they needed it against Russell County, they stuck him in there at halfback, and like you said, just let him eat. And that's what he was eating a lot in that second half.
Well, they're going to need that this week as they take on Shaw High School, who got a big win against Kendrick, lost the first opening game in heartbreaking fashion. But we all know about Charles Flowers, and now we got someone that's really close and learned under Charles Flowers in Johnny Gardner. And Johnny, I think it's an up-and-coming coach that's going to do a fantastic job with Shaw. It's going to take some time to get back to the way they were in the 2000s. Me and you were talking about this, Rick, that about 2008 era of Shaw. It couldn't get any better. And then you had Carver with Dell McGee. That, in my opinion, Jeff Battles was at Hardaway. Heck, even Columbus High with Phil Marino. The high school football around this area was at its all-time high in that 2000 to 2010 era. And I think it's starting to come back again the way we want it to be. And I'm excited about what's going on this Friday. But before we talk about Harris County Shaw and preview that a little bit, I want to get to know Rick Beach. Like, I know Rick Beach personally. Richard, you know Rick Beach. But the Georgia Alabama Sports Live listeners, they don't know who Rick Beach is. They probably don't know who Kudzu Sports is. They probably say every name other than Kudzu. So talk about, Rick, where are you from? What led you to getting into this broadcasting and keeping up with Auburn and Georgia and high school athletics? And then how'd you come up with Kudzu Sports?
I'll just cut the honest truth. We had a Georgia podcast. Me and a buddy of mine just laid a cell phone in the middle of a card table, and we'd talk Georgia football, and we'd post it on wherever we could post it.
Right.
It was no video, no nothing to it. And we did that for a little while, and then I had a buddy of mine, Alex Thompson. He had a studio, and he's like, hey, why don't you try it? So we did it on WYBU, which is from Christian Television Network. It was called Nothing Finer Podcast. It was just Georgia football. But we wanted to expand. Like Georgia Bulldog football, you got 1,000 podcasts. So we said, let's do something more local. Let's add Auburn. Let's do Georgia. Let's add high school sports. No specific. Let's just add high school sports. Well, I live in Hamilton. I live right down the road from the high school. So by adding high school sports, I said, well, nobody talks about Harris County football.
No.
Like, that's wide open. And it's also right down the road. So we're thinking what to do. We came up with a name because kind of cheesy play on words, but Kudzu's known for covering ground. Like, it grows a little bit, then it just covers a house, covers trees. So we cover sports means we just cover everything.
Oh, okay.
And we's really me and a buddy of mine. That's the we. We made it like it sound like it's a big operation.
Right.
But it was just a buddy Austin making it appear what we wanted it to be down the road.
Right.
I knew one coach at Harris County, Zach Moss. Coach Moss, he was coaching baseball at the time, varsity. He's the flag football coach.
Yep.
I texted him. I said, hey, I don't know who y'all's football coach is, but I just want to talk to him on the phone. And it was Jamie Fox. I talked to Coach Fox, and I asked him, can I come this weekend? And actually, it was a year ago today or yesterday. I saw it on Facebook, the inter-squad scrimmage. And he said, we'd love to have you. I didn't know him. He just, off the bat, we just met on the phone. I came to that one scrimmage. I think I've missed one game since then. My daughter had COVID one time. Austin helps out a little bit, but I've been to every game since then. Coaching change, athletic director change. I've been to baseball games, baseball coach change, the higher coach that I know personally with Dimitri, so that worked out. The flag football went to the state championship all the way at the old Turner Field. I was with them step for step with Coach Moss. Wrestling team, Alex Moore, Coach Moore. So it's like that one conversation with Coach Fox just led to everything. And then I kind of abandoned a little bit, other than Auburn, everything else, because I wanted to commit more to Harris County because people would catch on. I started getting Facebook messages about, hey, when's wrestling got a tournament? Well, that meant something that they thought about me when they thought about wrestling team. Mm-hmm. So now, you know, I've been to track events. I mean, I don't know nothing about some of these sports, but if somebody says, I had a mom say, my daughter's on the soccer team, why don't y'all do nothing about soccer? So I just got the Harris County directory, called the soccer coach. The next thing you know, I'm watching soccer. And honestly, I don't know anything about soccer. I would just take a picture, posting them on there saying, hey, I'm at the soccer game. They did good, you know?
Right.
So, but it meant a lot that it means a lot. You see, it meant a lot to me that it meant a lot to them to think about me when they recognize a sport. So it kind of your motivation to, and now I help with graphics. I ain't a graphics guy, but I'll do anything to help these coaches at Harris County. And so if they, Coach Harrison asked something for softball, I'll bend over backwards and help her. I'm Coach Dimitri, but it's, you know, they always help me in any way too. It's great people. The whole community's great up here. I love everything about the county, but the athletic department, the academic, Miss Snyder, the principal, Coach Johnson, KB, Coach Watson, everybody's just been terrific. And they welcomed me with open arms. And like I said, they ain't been able to get rid of me. So I guess they finally just accepted it.
Listen, you're killing the graphics. That's one of the skill sets that I want to learn so bad, and I probably should have learned and paid attention more at Columbus State when I was getting my degree in communication. But that's neither here nor there. We're not going to talk about that right now. But I think you do such a great job. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter if it's me, DJ Jones, heck, Jonathan Hoppy of WTBM, Rex Castillo, Jack Patterson, Redmond. When you talk Harris County, Kudzu Sports, Rick Beach is right there. They go side by side. And I think that's a great job by you in understanding, hey, this is the niche. I'm getting a great following. Why not take advantage of it? And I think that's one thing that I've learned in this business, Rick. And I took it away from Josh Pate, too. You know, Josh Pate, he used to do a show called Friday Night Sports Focus. This was at Columbus State. This is before he even thought about getting big, before he even went to television. All right. And he was trying to cover all the different sports. Obviously, he really loved SEC and college football, but he was touching on everything, NFL. And he learned that where he got his most traction and where people wanted to listen to him the most was talking college football, specifically Auburn, Georgia, Alabama, because of the area he was in. And guess what? Look where he's at now. And I think that's the same thing can be said for you in Harris County's high school and what we're doing now with the live streams. For all the young broadcasters out there, you want to get into this field. It's hard. All right, it's hard making a name for yourself. It's hard for someone giving you an opportunity. We all know that. but doesn't take away that you find something you love. You love covering sports, okay? Find something that you feel like is close to you, like you talked about, and where you're meaningful. You're meaningful in Harris County right now, even though you know just as much about Georgia Bulldogs and Georgia Bulldog sports as anyone I know, Rick. And we have conversation all the time when we're covering Auburn games. Then you cover Auburn, but obviously you're known for Harris County, and you're okay with that. And it's okay to have that niche. So I'm just saying, congratulations on building this thing to, I think, a pretty high level, man. And I'm excited that you're part of the Georgia Alabama Sports Live team, Rick.
Oh, absolutely. And I enjoy. I mean, I enjoy talking to both y'all with sports, and y'all's passion for high school sports is through the roof. I mean, y'all did the Northside Harris County softball game. Y'all did a Jordan. Look at the Jordan Columbus football game. You know, I went to Jordan for 3 years. People don't go to those games, but when they're on TV or online, but they're being streamed on your TV. I was watching it on my TV in the living room. I'm proudful. That's my school. That's the school I went to. You know, I got my buddy Ben Hagan. We went to Jordan together. This is his first year coaching. He's an assistant coach at Jordan. He was at Hardaway. It is fun seeing him on the sidelines at his alma mater. That's where he loves Jordan High School. And to see him on the sidelines, and y'all give it a chance for everybody to see his excitement.
Yeah.
And that's fun because everybody wants to watch Carver and Shaw back in, like you said earlier, the Shaw U days. Everybody was watching those two schools, but nobody was watching Kendrick. So it puts them up on a pedestal, even if it's for one night. But those kids are superstars. They're on Monday Night Football in their eyes.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And Richard, I'm gonna let you, also have a conversation about this or give your input. But I got a text from Cadell Jenkins. He's the head coach of Jordan, guys, and I was trying not to get too emotional, but the appreciation and when he called me and the support that he felt from us. And I know how hard it is what he's doing at Jordan. We know you went to school there. My granddad coached there, Larry Bush. I mean, I understand. They're the school that has the least amount of resources, probably out of any school in Muskogee County. Heck, probably out of any school in the Tri-City area. You put Harris County, Central, Smith Station, Russell County, Jordan. Out of all those teams, and that includes the private schools as well. They're the least fortunate when it comes to resources. This man is dedicated, devoted, and I saw a team, and I know you did too last week, that didn't quit, that had a lot of heart, and it's only going to be a matter of time that Jordan's going to get a win. These kids are getting an opportunity to go back and see, hey, I did play high school at a high level. This is my tape, like you talked about, and that's the ultimate goal for us. Richard, anything else you want to add?
I'm glad that we're able to cover all the teams here in the Chattahoochee Valley. I mean, we have a variety, making sure that we cover Columbus, Jordan. We're going to cover Hardaway. We're going to cover Kendrick, North Side. Over on the other side of the river, we're going to cover Smith Station, Russell County. And it really means a lot to these kids and the community. And people don't realize how big high school football is here in the Tri-City area. Imagine if we were covering this back in 2007 when Isaiah Crowell was running at Carver, how much exposure we would have given him and the other football players. But we didn't have this technology back then. And so now that we have this technology, we just need to embrace it, and we just need to continue live streaming games. And I love doing it, Thrift, because, I was a broadcasting major in college 20 years ago. I got back into this business because somebody was looking for a public address announcer at Russell County. They asked me, hey, do you want to be a public address announcer? And I talked to the coach. I did have, I was a broadcasting major. I spent 8 years doing public affairs in the military. So I do have some experience. And that PA announcing job led to the Rapids. Even though they were looking for somebody just an entry level, they would have gotten an internship. They would have gotten an intern to do that job. And I did it. And I did it because I'm a professional. I'm going to do the best I can. And then now look at us. Now look at where I am, Thrift. And I have you to thank for it because I'm a part of Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And I tell you, I'm excited about Shaw Harris County this Friday night.
I know you are. That was Richard's beat the chest moment. He's been my boy Richard has been waiting on that moment. Listen, he is a hard worker, as a lot of people in this business, but he's loyal, and I'm so glad you're part of our team. And same with you, Rick. Also, before we get into it, Those who liked Auburn football, like Georgia football, me and Rick, we're going to be going to cover Auburn this week. We're going to be doing a little cross promo live to preview the Auburn game, talk about the Georgia game that night, Alabama, anything else that's going on around college football. It's back, baby. I'm getting chills already. I'm pitching myself. So make sure to tune in Saturday afternoon about 2:30, and me and Rick will be previewing games, and we'll even do a live afterwards talking about what we saw after the game as well. So y'all make sure to tune in during then. But without further ado, let's do a little preview. First things first, let's talk about the Shaw Raiders, okay? Because when we're getting to Harris County and getting in the depth with them. Shaw, led by Coach Johnny Gardner. Me and Richard, we predicted them to go 5-5, 6-4 this year off their 4-6 season last year, made the playoffs. They played, is it Marion County game
Yes.
one? Okay, because I was like, why am I drawing a blank right now? Marion County, they were leading the entire game. Ended up losing 16-50 in heartbreak fashion. Came back the next week, dominated Kendrick. Now I think they get a real test, considering the fact that it's on the road at Harris County playing a much bigger team that's a 5A school. I know Shaw's 4A, but when I think Harris County, I mean, I think about the entire county. Maybe that's why I think of why they're so big. I just think about literally all of Harris County, and it's a growing county. I think Shaw has a lot to play for. What I saw against Kendrick, obviously, that's not going to be the same competition we see this Friday, gentlemen. So I'll start with you, Rick. What are some of the things you're interested in seeing with Shaw taking on Harris County?
Last year, they ran the ball really good. Shaw ran the ball good. And I want to see them force Harris County to have a vertical passing game. Not, we saw Harris County throw it side to side pretty often in the first half against Russell County, but they never was forced to throw it downfield. They had the reverse pass, and they hit it. I think it was 28, 29 yards.
Yep.
But they never forced Levi into being that pocket passer to throw it downfield. So I'm interested. Harris County kind of caught Russell County off guard with that power T because they didn't show it much against Troop. Now you have a team that know it's coming. Coach Gardner's got a whole tape worth of seeing it. So if they can stop that Harris County run and force Levi into throwing it downfield, and I'm wanting him to finally get that challenge because last year was hard being a first-year quarterback in a new school, a new county, new team. You're kind of a new offense as far as he knows it because his dad brought it with him. But it's just he can finally show off his work from the offseason on being forced to throw it downfield.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Rick. And Richard, Shaw's got a new quarterback in Nicholas Bates. He's played good these first 2 weeks. And, in week one with a new offense, completely different from what last year's offense was with Blair Harrison, you're going to see some miscues. You're going to see some things they need to improve on. Last week against a less talented Kendrick team, it's hard, in my opinion. I don't think we really know much about this Shaw team. We will learn a lot more about them heading in against Harris County. For one, it's week 3. Teams are starting to knock that rust off. They're also playing a team that's got a lot of talent on the road. They faced them against last year. What are you seeing with Shaw? Do you like Bates? How do you like this team right now coming off a 43-6 win against Kendrick?
I do like Bates. I do like him in Johnny Gardner's offense, and he's got some weapons. Jacavius Mason, the big tight end. He is a possession receiver. Now, they are going to miss Jalen Bass. He was their leading rusher from last season. He rushed for over 900 yards. It looks like they'll find their running back, and we'll see this Friday night, see if Shaw is going to run the football. But their vertical passing game, they tested it out in their spring game, and they also tested it out in their jamboree 2 weeks ago before the season started. So Shaw, yes, they had that heartbreaking loss to Marion County. By the way, Marion County's 2-0. So maybe Marion County is better than we think. And Shaw was just playing a good team, maybe. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. Yes, Shaw came up to Harris County last year and lost. They get to go back up to Harris County again, and we shall see what happens. Hey, funny thing, Rick, I do want to say this, because tomorrow in Thomaston is the GHSA reclassification meeting. It is open to the public. Do you think Harris County makes the jump to 6A?
I don't think so yet. I think it's coming with the construction on 315 and all the new houses. Eventually it's coming, but I don't think it'll happen right now.
Yeah,
Well,
and
who would they play?
Right, and here's another thing too. You don't want to set your team up for failure, Rick. Like you're playing in 5A and you're starting to catch your footing now in 5A to go straight to 6A when you really had a tough time in 5A. I think that'd be asking a lot for Harris County for Coach Watson. I don't think that'd be fair for them. I think you agree 5A is where they need to stay right now.
Yeah, I think the best in the same region with Harris County, you got Drew, the true. I think they're the Titans,
Yeah.
and I don't know if y'all see them play, but they are not. But they're over their head. They're playing up, and it's just obvious. I mean, in every sport, and I don't think you want to set yourself up saying, "Well, we're going to be a 6A school down the road, so let's do it now." I say I wouldn't. I don't want to go up until GHSA says, "Hey, y'all got to go up. Y'all are
Right.
beating up on 5A. Y'all have to go up." And like you said, who would you play? You got to go all the way up to Atlanta to start playing 6A schools.
There's Noonan, Lee County, Houston County. Those are the closest 6A schools.
And you're
Yes,
and you're saying teams that are juggernauts, Lee
Yeah,
County, Noonan. Like you're not mentioning teams that are not don't have history
yeah.
of winning. You're mentioning top 10 teams, regardless of
yeah.
the classification in the state.
Number two, still GPTV.
Yeah, I don't think Harris County wants that. But it's funny. It's going to be interesting seeing. In a couple years ago, you had Kendrick and Spencer move down to 2A, Carver from 4A to 3A. I think those moves moving down help those schools tremendously, especially the Spencers and the Kendricks and the Jordans. They're playing way out of depth in where they in the 2A. Heck, I think Jordan should move down to 1A. In my opinion, they're probably more competitive there, but that's neither here nor there. We'll see how it turns out. But I'm with both of you. And as Rick talked about, I mean, it's not a secret. Harris County is a growing market when it comes to houses. More and more people are wanting to move out there, and it's only a matter of time before, like you said, they're going to outgrow where they're at now. But hopefully, more houses mean talent that comes into that school that makes it a even more premier of a football program, right, Rick?
Yeah, that's what you're hoping. Anytime you expand, eventually, or when you're taking in, that you're getting some 6'4", 300-pound linemen coming in to be. That's what you're hoping because you're not having that necessarily right now. And some of you go on campus at Harris County. I'm fortunate enough that I got a relationship. Sometimes I can go through the campus, talk to the coaches,
Right.
and you see some of these kids walking around, and I ask the coaches, why did he wear shoulder pads? And they'll say, well, he just didn't want to play. He came out for a little while, didn't want to play. And it's kind of frustrating, but you kind of see, well, if you get enough of them, you'll get some of them on the football team. If you only got one or two, it's hard to get all the big guys to play football.
Yeah,
But, if you can get 10 on campus, you can get 2 or 3 on the field, you're doing good.
Yeah, you know what else helps, Rick? You start winning games, and you
Yeah, bingo.
Like Russell County, and you saw all the football players probably got a lot of love from all the students that go to the school there. That's going to entice someone to be like, man, I think I want to be a part of that team. So what happened last Friday hopefully is going to translate for the growing of the Harris County Tigers football program. All right, before we talk a little bit about. Actually, you know what? We'll go ahead and get into Harris County, and then before we get out of here, I did want to talk about the 3 Thursday games that are tomorrow, or 2 Thursday games that are tomorrow. Northside Hardaway, Columbus, Manchester. We'll pick them between us three. That can be part of our picks for game day on Friday, considering the fact they're already going to play, so we won't be able to
Yeah.
pick them Friday. But let's go to Harris County now. Rick, what are some of the things, and for Shaw, in my opinion, they got to be up tempo. They got to score points. I think they can keep it low scoring, but you want to see Nicholas Bates. You want to see him not get a lot of pressure, be able to stay clean inside the pocket, because the way Coach Gardner's offense is run, if a quarterback gets hurt and he's not able to read the field, they're going to be in big time trouble. So we're hoping that if you're a Shaw fan, that he could stay upright. But on the flip side for Harris County, what are some of the things you think they need to improve on heading in now to a big time game against Shaw?
Defensively, when they played Troop a couple weeks ago, scoreboard don't really show how much effort they had, but they did a pretty good job containing Todd. From what we've seen, how great he is at the quarterback for Troop County. They got him off his mark. They might not. I think they might have had a sack that game, but they did force an interception by getting him, rolling him out. Kind of getting him off his mark, getting him off the X, so to say, and forced an interception. They almost forced another one in the second half, and that's kind of where they got to do with Shaw. is you stop the run game and contain that quarterback and just get pressure on him. And, you don't have to – I'm a Georgia fan by nature, so I believe in the Kirby Smart philosophy, create havoc with your defense. Don't have to be a sack, but if you make that quarterback force him to throw the ball on the run, he might make a bad throw across his body. And these defensive backs at Harris County are some ball hawks. They're coached by Demetrius Brooks, D-Rock. He went to Western Kentucky. He played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Saints. He played, he got a lot of experience as a DB. His nephew's a DB, got the pick against Troop County. They got Skyler. They got some good players on that backside on that defense that can make you pay if you make an errant throw. And that's what they have to do on defense against Shaw, or you're going to get cut up.
Richard?
Well, I just want to know, like, the way that they went back and forth with Russell County, is Coach Watson going to make any adjustments for Shaw? Because we know that Shaw is going to put 7 in the box to try to stop Matei Yeomans and force Levi Watson to throw. Is that the game plan? Is Levi Watson ready to go vertical just in case Shaw stops the run?
Good question.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I think they were doing Friday night. And I haven't talked to Coach Watson at all this week. I haven't talked to any of the coaches like I normally would, even if it's just BSing during the weekend. But it seemed like they came out in that first half. We saw a lot more swing pass, screens to the wide receiver, and these runs, and they made Russell County run east and west. And they got them legs tired. Then they lined up in that power T. They got big TJ Johnson, that defensive tackle, to come to fullback. Got Human to come in there fullback, running back, and just started pounding them tired legs. And that's where Russell County was like, look, we're tired. Our legs are give out because we've been chasing Miguel and Q. We've been chasing Levi, chasing them around. And now you're just getting hit in the mouth. And that's kind of what I think they might try to do Friday night, is maybe not come out in that power T right off the bat. They try to stretch you out, get you tired, run you east and west, then hit you in the mouth.
Well, I'm excited. I think it's going to be a great game. High school game day is going to be there. My guy Rick Beach, Richard Holdridge. We'll have a special guest picker. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully we get our first student fan interaction in high school game day. We're going to go all out. I'm telling you, I love what I heard from this past week of all the hospitality. And, I'm sorry to say it, but Harris County, good old country folk, they love taking care of people. You know this, Rick. You've lived there for so long. I went to Harris County Carver Middle School, Mulberry Creek. I played in Catala for the Catala Tigers. Trust me, I know all about being in Harris County before I went to Glenwood during high school. And my parents actually still live out there in Catala actually I don't want to say the street, but live in Catala too. I don't know why I was even thinking about saying the street. But I'm excited. And I appreciate all the love that they showed us, and we're going to return the favor by going all out for high school game day. Rich, you got, from what Richard told me, we're showing love to the Little League. And we talked on the phone, the Little League team that made it a really deep run. They were really close to making it to the World Series, back-to-back years of coming just short. I feel like it's going to be a packed house. How do you think it's going to be on Friday night, man?
I think with the Little League team coming, you're going to have a lot of the parents from the Little League, obviously, from their buddies and all. But I think the win is going to get a lot more of the community out there. By seeing how much it got shared on Facebook, how many views the videos have gotten, there's excitement in Harris County. There's people getting excited, and Harris County got 7 home games this year, and I think we're about to do 4 in a row right now. So that builds it up where every week you can keep packing in there. And hopefully this weekend is the more of the same as far as a good crowd, a lively crowd. That crowd Friday night, now it's a close game, so it's easy to be into the game. But the student section didn't leave early like you see sometimes.
Right.
The band stayed in it the whole game. So it was like going to a small college game almost from where we was sitting at. The student section was right on top, right under us. So we got all the noise from them. And the atmosphere was pretty impressive from where we were.
It looked electric. And I will say this, if you don't know and you think, all right, Texas, those small towns, they shut down the whole place. This is closest to Texas as you're going to get in a football field, because everybody literally shuts down the entire county. It don't matter if it's Hamilton, Pine Mountain, Catala, Waverly Hall. Everybody shuts down to go to the game. If you've never been there, it is a sight. For one, the scenery is beautiful. I mean, it is a great place to have football. And so if you don't go, it's fine. Just tune in, Georgia Alabama Sports Live Facebook page and YouTube channel. But if you do go, you can watch the replay and come out and show love to the Harris County Tigers as they take on the Shaw Raiders. All right, so there's two games that are playing tomorrow, gentlemen. One is Columbus takes on Manchester. Manchester upset Bowden, defending state champions last year. Columbus got a big win against Jordan. I think this is going to be a tall task. Rick, where are you going, Columbus or Manchester?
Well, I know y'all might not know this. Back in the day, that was Harris County's big 2A rivalry. Harris County Manchester was, law enforcement getting involved back in the late 90s a lot of the time. I think Manchester's going to beat them. They've been rolling. They got great athletes up there over in Manchester. So I think the only thing I know in Manchester is the Big Chick, the nice chicken sandwich restaurant. But I think celebrating out there Friday night at the Big Chick or Thursday night.
Big Chick and the Blue Devils taking on the Blue Devils. It's Blue Devils versus Blue Devils. Richard, what do you got?
When you go into Manchester, because I do this all the time, taking the back roads to my in-laws in South Atlanta, they got a billboard that says 1997 state champions. I think they're going to put up another billboard.
Oh.
Manchester wins. Yeah, maybe not this year, but they will get another billboard.
That was a hot take, Stephen A.
Yeah. Yeah, you like that. They did defeat the defending state champions.
They did. And I don't think we're going out on a limb. I think all three of us are taking Manchester. And I think this is going to be pretty unanimous on this next one. Hardaway, Coach Ryan McKenzie. If you look at the schedule, let me tell you who Hardaway started off with Carver. We know how good they are. Last week, Hardaway played Troup County. You know about that firsthand experience with Teo Todd, Rick. This week, they play Northside. And then they play Noonan the week after. That's 4 straight weeks of teams that either won a region championship, vying for a state championship, a brutal schedule with a freshman quarterback and a new head coach, even though Coach McKenzie was a great coach at Chattahoochee County. Obviously, we know that this year is a rebuilding year for them. I think they are going to get manhandled against Northside, especially what happened in Northside last week against LaGrange. I'm going Northside over Hardaway. But I'm going to say this. I think Hardaway takes strides, maybe not on the scoreboard, but maybe like making big plays here or there, just like we saw with Jordan. They're making plays that last year they didn't even come close to doing. And I think that would be a major improvement with this Hardaway team. Rick, go ahead.
You kill me with these Harris County rivalries because Northside's another one that's pretty good. Is in region and closeness. And it's just a rivalry in every sport.
Right.
I think they're going to be a Hardaway afternoon, and Hardaway comes up to Hamilton to play Harris County, so that schedule keeps on.
Yep. It is. I think we're all taking Northside. I think that's pretty unanimous on that. But I'm with you. I'm hoping October the 6th. We already got our schedule played out. But the way I'm looking at it, and the way these two teams play, if Harris County keeps going the way they're going, I'd love to see a Harris County Northside football game. Also, I was talking with Coach Johnson, and I think it's okay if we go ahead and say this. That we're looking November the 3rd, Harris County that takes on McIntosh. And McIntosh, a really big school. That's Harris County senior night. I think that'd be pretty cool to be a part of that. So maybe that's a teaser for a couple of weeks to come. So, and anytime we can, we're going to try to call as many Harris County games as we can possible. Excited for game day, 6 o'clock. Me, Richard, and Rick on there the whole time to preview the game. And then, of course, live stream starts at 7:30. Actually, live stream will start at 7:10. We'll have Rick on for pregame. He'll go on down on the field. He'll do his normal stuff he does with Kudzu, getting his, all the video clips and everything else with coverage. And then we'll have Rick hopefully come on at halftime. And then, of course, the postgame as well. Rick, any other final thoughts before we let you go?
No, I appreciate y'all having me on and all the kind words and everything. I hope maybe if it comes out, we get to do another doubleheader. I hope Harris County's in it so I get to do it again. It was really fun, Richard. It was great. Like you said with the chemistry, I think we hit it off pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
And the biggest thing I knew is he was doing play-by-play. When he talked, I just shut up. So it's pretty simple as far as if Richard was going to keep my mouth shut.
Well, listen, y'all did a great job. And like I said, that October 6th, Harris County Northside, we already got a Calvary game. I think that may be a night we do a doubleheader. And obviously, Rick, you already know it. Anytime we do games like that, no matter if it's at Harris County or here, which is at Connect that Friday night, you're going to be on the call with us. Looking forward to seeing you Friday. Richard, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, Rick, I just want to say that it was just a pleasure calling a game with you. And I actually have a story I wanted to share. The first time I actually
Please
met
do.
Rick, he was umpiring the District 8 championship between Northside and Harris County.
And listen, let me tell you this. This is why I love Rick Beach, because shout out to my guy Peyton Ziegler. I used to umpire Phoenix City Little League a
Did
lot.
you?
Yes, I promise you. I did 9 and 10-year-olds. I even did 11, 12. So when I heard from Richard, because I already knew who you were, Rick, and he was like, yeah, Rick Beach is umpiring from Kudzu Sports. And I'm like, I mean, we got more in common than I thought. He's out here umpiring still.
We just love sports. I mean, sports. If it's involved in sports, I like to be involved in it.
Exactly right. All right, gentlemen, thank y'all so much. We'll see you on Friday night. It's Georgia Alabama Sports Live, Week 3 high school preview show. Thrift Barringer, Richard Holdridge, Rick Beach. We'll see you on Friday at Durham Field.